As I look back at our customer for life and all of the topics that we've covered, the overarching theme has been crafting the customer journey or experience, if you will, when you look at how do I maintain a customer relationship for life. And we've covered a lot of great topics and a lot of different things that we've gone through. The first week that we got together was thinking long term. So, am I reacting to situations as they come? Or am I actually sitting down and thinking long term? And that is a different way of looking at problems or challenges that we have. We may make a different decision if I'm trying to look at what the long term scope of that problem is. Then in week 2, we got into the virtual presence. When I'm not there, when I'm not right in front of the customer, as we're moving from this transactional type of business to more of maintaining a customer for life and creating this customer experience or customer journey, what things do I have in place? Everybody has heard the story of Honeywell. Nest just recently took it when we do surveys of homeowners and we ask what furnace or what air conditioner do you have in your home. The old response was Honeywell. The new response today is Nest, and as far as the number one furnace or air conditioner that people have in their home. So what are you doing to place your virtual presence in front of that customer so when they do have a problem, they know that you're there to take care of the problems that they have, and it's just a natural reaction to reach out to you and interact with you. In week 3, we really talked about focusing the customer journey, customer experience is not delivered by you, the owner of the company. We're not the face. The face that the customer interacts with is our technicians. It's the customer service rep. It's the comfort advisor. It's everybody else that we're working with. And so how do you recruit and retain your best? You constantly need to be looking for more people. And so what are you doing to attract people in all of the noise that's out there? Are you putting limitations on the people that want to come and work for you? Or are you actually putting benefits that will attract more people to be wanting to come and work for you? And then how do you select the best pool out of that pool of candidates? How do you select the best? And then after you've selected the best and you've brought them on board, how do you retain them? What things do you put in place that are going to make that employee feel valued and feel welcome within your organization? And how do you engage with them to make sure that you're doing all the things that you need to do? Week 4, we got into keeping the promises that you make. And so are you writing checks that you can't cash? I don't know how many times I've seen on websites, on billboards, even on the side of trucks or business cards, 24-hour emergency service. And the customer goes ahead and dials that number, expecting that they're going to get a hold of a live human being because they're in a crisis mode, and they get nothing. Sometimes even during normal business hours, they still get no answer, no response. It goes to a voicemail. And so are we really providing the experience from the expectation that we set that's out there? And so this goes back to thinking long term. What promises am I making as a business, and am I able to keep up with those promises that I'm putting out there? Then we start talking about reoccurring revenue, lifetime customer value. It's no secret in the residential replacement world that the most successful HVAC companies have a strong maintenance agreement program. But that is counterintuitive to the transactional experience that so many businesses find themselves in, because this is a long-term strategy, a long-term play. And when we look at that recurring revenue, I think so many people have also said, well, I'm going to be out in 3 to 4 years. We talk about that 10x. When companies come in and they value a business, there's a 10 times multiplier effect for that reoccurring revenue that your business has coming in. And it's so crucial for you to get that reoccurring revenue, whether it be through maintenance agreements, and even now as we emerge into some of these home automation products that may be available, and looking at how we craft that and put that together. In week 6, we introduced you to the customer lifetime value. We told the story of Hoover. Anybody can go out and get new customers. If you told me I needed 1,000 new customers, I could get you new customers. It may not make sense, though, if I don't know what my customer lifetime value is. Am I overpaying what the lifetime value of that customer is in order to acquire that new business? And so that's one of the things that we need to understand. What is the lifetime value of this customer, and does the acquisition that I'm using make sense to get that customer on board with me? Then we started to divide the different customers that you have into the 4 segments. We talked about the explorer, which was the ideal customer that's always exploring new ways to do business with you. We talked about the vacationer that comes to you and is satisfied, but they may not be there very long. We talked about the prisoner that had to use your service because there was no other option available. And then the freeloader that just looks for the deals that you put out there and those customer acquisition programs that you put out there. And we looked at what the lifetime value of each of these segments was, and we start to think through, how do I attract more explorers and less of the freeloaders? How do I move vacationers to explorers? And how do I get the right type of customers? Then we looked at the aspects of the modifiers in the customer lifetime value. And we talked about the customer acquisition, we talked about customer retention, and then we talked about customer engagement and getting those and developing those customers with ourselves. So under customer retention, we talked about the Net Promoter Score in week 9. We talked about, our customers dissatisfied. Maybe our customers leave deliberate because of something that we did or said, or maybe it's a lifestyle change and they moved away, or they moved into a home that no longer needed your services, or something along those lines. And we have to understand why our customers are leaving us. And a really good way to do that is understand what that Net Promoter Score is and figure out what we can do to improve our overall Net Promoter Score that we have. Then we got into our customer development. So how do I get more share of wallet for my customers? When we talk about an HVAC business, we understand that a majority of the indoor air quality products today are sold through big box stores, through retail. We also understand that a majority of the home automation is sold through the big box stores and through retail. So how do I increase my share of wallet against the giants that are out there? And how do I create that customer journey and that experience there in developing my customers? We talked about cross-selling and upselling. And so what different tools do I have available? And Matthew's touched on these with financing, Tom with the sales process and what you have available there. Jennifer with the engagement that they have with your e-commerce experience that you have for your customers. And so tying all of these things back together, Brigham and his team have talked about how even your customer service experience can help you with the upselling and finding other opportunities for a customer to engage with you. And then redefining your business. What are the products and the services that we offer? What other adjacent products and services make sense for us to maybe go ahead and grow and expand the footprint of our offerings and what we can do to engage our existing customer base that we have? Then we really started to do some deep dives into who we are as individuals. And we started in the Enneagram. We talked about the different triads that are out there. We talked about the heart, body, and mind, and really went through that. And we identified, do I react and do I think more from a thinking standpoint? Do I do it more from a feeling standpoint? Or is it more of a gut instinct that I have out there? We moved into the stances and we got into the fact that, am I more aggressive? Am I more dependent on what others think? Do I withdraw from others? And when we take those triads and those stances, that ends us up with our Enneagram number in who we really are. As we came to a close in 14, 15, and 16, all of this information comes back to our perspective. And we talked about 3 key concepts that I want you to really walk away with. And number 1 was the totality of truth. Oftentimes, we do not have the whole picture. We don't see the whole picture. And there is a totality of truth. And that was illustrated through the blind men and the elephant and what their experience was as far as what an elephant was. Then we talked about, am I solving the right problem? So when somebody brings a challenge or a problem to me, and we talked about the elevator problem that was there, and in order to fix the slow elevators, it wasn't a mechanical fix. It was more of a behavioral fix. When we looked at it through the eyes of a behavioral scientist and just putting a mirror up in the lobby. to help the perception of time pass faster. And last, as far as perspectives, am I hearing what I want to hear, or am I really taking the time to understand what the truth is? And we talked about the Potemkin villages that are out there. And so often we look through that lens of this is what I want to hear, this is what I expect, and what Potemkin villages do we have in our life? As we start to look through all of these different lenses, that brings us to conflict, because we're going to have this wrestling going on inside of us. And how do we manage that conflict through the 5 different reaction modes that are out there? So you have your compromisers, you have your avoiders, your accommodators, you have your collaborators, and your competing types. And when is the right time to use the right reaction mode? Understanding that conflict is neutral, it's neither good nor bad. And how do we tie that together? As we look at all of this information that we've shared, and that's why I leave the review with the infinity sign. This is a continuous journey that we have going on and on. We're constantly redefining the journey. We're constantly redefining the experience for our customers. And if you don't have a good, solid idea of who you are, what your branding strategy is, you will never be able to begin starting to put together this whole entire journey or experience.